If you are an Indian tech worker in the US, a student on F1 OPT, an employer hiring global talent, or a family waiting in the green card backlog, you probably saw the headlines. At an AI summit in Washington, Donald Trump delivered sharp comments aimed at major tech companies like Google and Microsoft, criticizing reliance on foreign talent and investment abroad, including in India and China. Here is why this matters. Moments like this can change company behavior immediately, even before any law changes, and they can also signal where immigration scrutiny could tighten next. By the end of this video, you will know 3 things. 1. What was actually said versus what is not confirmed as a new immigration rule. 2. Which groups could realistically feel impact first and which groups are mostly insulated. And 3. A practical checklist you can follow this week to protect your timeline, your travel plans, and your paperwork if the conversation turns into policy. Here is the part most people miss. Speeches and headlines often move faster than agencies do, but employers can react overnight. So we are going to separate facts from noise in plain English. First, what changed? Based on the brief we have, this is a live event-style headline about remarks at an AI summit in Washington. The core message reported is a directive or warning to large tech firms to refocus job creation in the US and reduce reliance on foreign talent, with criticism of investing abroad while benefiting from American systems. Important: remarks at an event are not the same as an executive order, a new DHS regulation, a USCIS policy memo, or a change to the State Department visa manual. No specific new law, fee, form, or eligibility rule is provided in the brief. So as of what we can responsibly say from this input alone, this is a political and corporate pressure message, not a confirmed change to H-1B rules or green card rules. Now, does that mean it is irrelevant? No, it can still matter in 2 ways. 1. It can influence how companies message hiring, where they open roles, and how they decide between US candidates and sponsorship. 2. It can signal an enforcement posture, like more audits, more detailed requests for evidence, or more scrutiny at visa interviews and at the border. But we have to keep those as watch points, not guaranteed outcomes. So what can we verify versus what we cannot confirm right now? What we can verify from the brief: the setting, AI summit in Washington; the target, major American tech companies; and the theme, domestic job creation, reduce reliance on foreign talent, criticism of investment abroad including India and China. What we cannot confirm from the brief: any official order to ban hiring Indians, any immediate suspension of work visas, any instruction to USCIS to deny specific nationalities, any new travel restrictions, or any new quota changes. If you see social media clips claiming things like Indians are being blocked or H-1B is ending next week, treat that as unverified until there is an official source. Here is a quick myth versus reality moment. Myth: a viral speech clip automatically changes immigration outcomes the next day. Reality: immigration changes usually require a formal policy document, a regulation, a court process, or at least written agency guidance. However, a speech can still change employer decisions, and it can shape what agencies focus on during adjudications. Now let's get specific about who is affected versus who is not. I'm going to break it into buckets. Bucket 1. People currently working in the US on employer-tied status, like H-1B, L-1, O-1, and similar categories. If the political pressure increases on big tech to hire domestically, the near-term effect is not that your current visa disappears. The near-term risk is more subtle. Slower sponsorship decisions, more cautious legal reviews, and more internal compliance checks before filing extensions, amendments, or green card steps. If you are in this group, your risk is mostly job-related and paperwork-related, not overnight deportation. But job changes can create immigration deadlines, and that is why you have to stay organized. Bucket 2. Students and recent grads, especially F1 students using CPT or OPT, including STEM OPT. This group can be affected quickly if companies reduce entry-level sponsorship or decide not to convert OPT workers to H-1B. Even without any government change, a corporate shift in hiring can reduce opportunities. Here is the part most people miss. Many OPT problems are compliance problems, not talent problems. If scrutiny rises, your documentation and reporting needs to be clean. Bucket 3. Employers and hiring managers. If you are an employer, a public warning to big tech can cause ripple effects. Legal teams may tighten criteria for when they will sponsor. HR may require more documentation of the role, the location, the salary, and the reporting structure. Recruiters may start filtering out candidates who need sponsorship sooner than before. None of that is a law, but it becomes a practical barrier. Bucket 4. People in the employment-based green card pipeline, including those waiting with I-140 approvals or planning I-485 adjustment, and those stuck in long backlogs, especially India-born applicants. The remarks described in the brief are about foreign talent reliance and jobs, not directly about the visa bulletin or per-country caps. So there is no confirmed change to green card backlogs from this speech alone. But watch points include slower employer sponsorship for PERM, higher standards for role description consistency, and more caution about refiling or upgrading positions mid-process. Bucket 5. Families of workers, including H-4 spouses and kids, and dependents in general. The speech does not directly target dependents. Your practical exposure is tied to the principal worker's job stability and timely filings. Now, who is likely not affected? At least, not directly. If you are a U.S. citizen or green card holder already, this is mostly about labor market debate, not your status. If you are in a category not tied to employment in the tech sector, the immediate impact is likely limited. If you are a tourist or short-term visitor, there is no specific travel rule change mentioned in the brief. But keep in mind that broader political narratives can still influence how strictly officers apply existing rules, which is why accurate documents matter for everyone. Edge cases people ask about. What if I work for a consulting firm that places me at a big tech client? That can be an area of extra scrutiny in general, because agencies may look closely at who controls the work and where it is performed. That is not new, but heightened attention can make it feel new. Another edge case, remote work. If your work location changes and your petition details do not match reality, that can trigger problems during extensions or amendments. A small detail changes everything. So why is this happening beyond the headline? The brief points to a broader debate: job creation in the U.S., corporate investment abroad, and reliance on foreign talent. In plain terms, this is political messaging aimed at aligning tech sector growth with domestic hiring. At the same time, AI is a hot topic. When AI is discussed alongside jobs, it often leads to sharper rhetoric about who gets the jobs that remain, who gets trained, and who benefits from taxpayer-funded systems. Another driver is optics. Large companies are high-visibility targets. Also, immigration systems have backlogs and complexity, and when the public is frustrated about jobs, complex systems become easy to criticize. Here is another myth versus reality moment. Myth: companies hire foreign workers because it is always cheaper. Reality: for many roles, especially specialized ones, sponsorship comes with legal costs, compliance requirements, timing delays, and uncertainty. The real issue is often talent match and speed, plus long-term planning. But in a political debate, nuance gets flattened. Now, real-world consequences. Even if nothing changes legally, 3 practical impacts can happen quickly. 1. Hiring behavior. Companies may pause or slow sponsorship decisions. They may prioritize candidates who do not require future filings. That can affect new grads the most. 2. Internal compliance. Employers may audit public access files, job descriptions, work locations, and payroll consistency. Employees may be asked to confirm worksite addresses, manager names, and duties. If you ignore those emails, you create risk. 3. Travel anxiety and consular scrutiny. People hear a headline and then decide to travel anyway, or decide to stop traveling entirely. The balanced answer is, do not assume you cannot travel. but do not travel casually if you have a pending change of employer, an upcoming extension filing, or messy documentation. Example Scenario 1. Composite. Arjun is on H-1B at a large tech company. He has an approved extension, but his visa stamp in the passport is expired. He plans to travel to India for a family wedding and get a new visa stamp at the consulate. He sees the headlines and panics. The right way to think about it is, a headline does not change the eligibility rules by itself, but it can affect how strictly officers apply existing standards. Arjun should plan for extra documentation, updated employment verification letter, recent pay stubs, a clear job description, and a manager contact. He should also avoid travel if his company is about to reorganize his role or change his work location, because that is when inconsistencies appear. Example Scenario 2. Composite. Neha is on F1 STEM OPT, working for a mid-sized startup. Her job is real, but her documentation is messy. She has not updated her address, and her training plan paperwork is not organized. If the public narrative turns into more compliance checks, students like Neha can get hurt even without any hostility. For her, the move is boring but powerful. Organize proof of employment, keep reporting up to date, and coordinate with the DSO at her school. Now for the practical part, what to do now. I am going to give you a do this and avoid this checklist. None of this is legal advice. This is common sense risk reduction you can do while you monitor official updates. Do this. Save and organize your core immigration file. Keep copies of approvals, I-94 records, prior petitions if relevant, offer letters, and recent pay stubs. If you have an attorney or employer portal, download what you can while you have access. Do this. Make your job reality match your paperwork. If your work location, duties, or employer structure changed, ask your employer, HR, or counsel whether any update is needed. Do not guess. This is where people get denied later. Do this. Plan travel like a project. Before international travel, confirm what documents you will carry, what appointments you need, and what your return plan is if there is a delay. If you need a visa stamp, consider timing, workload at the consulate, and your employer's flexibility. Do this. Watch official sources, not clips. Monitor USCIS news releases, DHS announcements, and State Department visa guidance. If a real policy change happens, it will show up in writing. Do this. If you are job searching, broaden your strategy. Focus on employers with proven sponsorship history, roles that clearly match your degree and experience, and locations and compensation that align with typical standards. Avoid this, making irreversible decisions based on rumors. Do not quit your job, cancel travel, or abandon a filing just because a headline sounds scary. Avoid this, misrepresenting facts to an employer or officer. Small exaggerations about duties or worksite can become big issues when documents are compared. Avoid this, letting deadlines slide. Many immigration problems are deadline problems. Renewal timing, reporting changes, responding to requests, or keeping status documents current. Here is a third myth versus reality moment. Myth: if politicians criticize hiring Indians, Indians will be denied automatically. Reality: U.S. immigration law generally operates through categories and eligibility standards, not public speeches. Discrimination is not supposed to be the system. But reality also includes discretion and scrutiny, which means your best defense is clean documentation and consistent records. So what could happen next? Think in terms of watch points, not predictions. Watch point 1, company-level changes, like fewer sponsored roles, slower PERM starts, or stricter internal criteria. Watch point 2, increased compliance activity, like more detailed questions on extensions or more audits for certain business models. Watch point 3, guidance updates. If an administration wants change, you may see agency memos, changes to forms or instructions, or shifts in how evidence is evaluated. Watch point 4, demand surges. When people fear change, they rush filings, which can worsen backlogs and slow processing. If you are in a green card pipeline, that can indirectly affect planning even without a rule change. If you are in one of the highest stress groups, here are 2 quick, save-worthy action steps. If you are an H-1B worker planning a job change, do not travel internationally during the most paperwork-sensitive window unless your attorney tells you it is safe for your exact case. And if you are an F1 OPT worker, make sure your employment reporting and training plan documents are current and easy to produce if asked. Let me land this with a calm recap. 1. From the information in the brief, this is a major political warning and a pressure message to big tech, not a confirmed new USCIS or State Department rule. 2. The fastest impact is likely employer behavior, sponsorship hesitation, compliance tightening, and slower green card starts, especially in tech. 3. The groups to watch closely are H-1B workers and F-1 OPT students because their status is closely tied to employment details and timelines. 4. Your best protection is boring, organized documents, consistent job details, and careful travel planning. 5. Keep your eyes on official written guidance, not viral clips. Do not panic, but do get prepared. If you want, subscribe and turn on notifications, because if any official guidance drops, or if there are verified changes that affect H-1B, OPT, consular processing, or green card steps, we will break it down in plain English and tell you exactly what to do next.